Not every star is born under the spotlight. Not every legend grows up with support. Some are forged through rejection, through loneliness, through being unwanted by the world. Jimmy Butler is one of them. Today, his name is synonymous with hard work, mental toughness, and uncompromising leadership. But before the NBA knew him as Jimmy Buckets, Jimmy was just a kid who wasn't even wanted by his own home. This is not a story about natural talent. This is a story about survival. This is the story of Jimmy Butler, the kid nobody wanted. Jimmy Butler was born on September 14, 1989, in Houston, Texas. But from the very beginning, he never truly knew what family felt like. When Jimmy was 13 years old, his mother looked at him and said words that would haunt him forever. "I don't like the way you look, you gotta go." No hug, no explanation, no destination. Jimmy left home and never returned. His father, gone long before that, at just 13 years old. Jimmy slept on couches, moving from one friend's house to another. No stability, no certainty, only hunger and loneliness. But it was there, in that darkness, that Jimmy Butler's mentality was forged. He learned one thing earlier than most. If you want to survive, you have to outwork everyone. Basketball was never a dream for Jimmy Butler. Basketball was a refuge. At Tomball High School, Jimmy wasn't a star. He wasn't a top prospect. He was barely noticed. No big college coaches showed up. No media attention. No five-star rankings. Just a skinny kid, staying late in the gym after everyone else left. When others chose to quit, Jimmy chose extra reps. When the world said, "You're not good enough," Jimmy answered with silent work. And when he graduated high school, no major university wanted him. Not Duke. Not Kentucky. Not Kansas. Once again, Jimmy Butler was unwanted. With no major offers, Jimmy Butler enrolled at Tyler Junior College. For many players, junior college is the end of the road. For Jimmy, it was his last chance. He worked harder than anyone, arrived earlier, left later. Slowly, people started to notice. Scouts came. Universities began calling. Finally, Marquette University gave him a chance. Not because of hype. Not because of raw talent. But because of one thing. A work ethic you cannot teach. At Marquette, Jimmy Butler still wasn't the main star. He had to prove himself again. But every year, he improved. More points, better defense, stronger mentality. In 2011, Jimmy Butler entered the NBA draft. Yet again, few believed. He was selected 30th overall by the Chicago Bulls, the last pick of the first round. Once again, nearly forgotten. But Jimmy wasn't angry. He smiled, because his entire life, he had learned how to live without expectations. In Chicago, Jimmy Butler began on the bench, guarding stars, doing the dirty work. No spotlight. But little by little, the coaches noticed something. Jimmy Butler was always ready. He didn't ask for minutes. He took them. Season after season, he evolved from a role player into an NBA All-Star, from a defensive specialist into a franchise leader. In 2015, NBA Most Improved Player. From a kid kicked out of his home to the face of the Chicago Bulls. But when internal conflicts arose, Jimmy had to leave once again, because he was too honest, too demanding, too competitive. Minnesota, Philadelphia, Miami. Everywhere he went, the narrative was the same. Jimmy Butler was labeled difficult, toxic, too intense. But the truth was simple. Jimmy Butler cannot live without standards. He doesn't care about reputation. He cares about effort. And finally, the Miami Heat gave him a home. A place where hard work is not requested, it is required. In Miami, Jimmy Butler found his identity. The year was 2020. The NBA bubble. No fans, no glamour. Jimmy Butler led the Heat to the NBA Finals. Against the Lakers. Against LeBron James. A legendary performance. 40 points. A triple-double. Refusing to quit. He didn't win the championship, but the world finally understood. Jimmy Butler is not an ordinary star. He is a fighter. As Jimmy Butler's career continued to evolve, One moment finally changed everything. This time, it was no longer a rumor. Jimmy Butler was heading to the Golden State Warriors, a move that shocked the league. A franchise built on championships, selfless basketball, and elite culture, now welcoming one of the most intense competitors of his generation. For years, Jimmy Butler had been seen as the hard worker, the enforcer, the leader who demanded more. Now, he was joining an organization that understood exactly what he brought. Golden State wasn't just adding talent. They were adding mentality, experience, and a player forged by adversity. For Jimmy Butler, this move symbolized something far greater than basketball. From a kid kicked out of his home, to a player trusted by one of the greatest franchises in NBA history. He was no longer chasing validation. He had earned it. Jimmy Butler never asked the world to like him. He only asked for one thing: a chance to work. From a kid kicked out of his home, to the NBA Finals, to becoming a true leader. This is not a story about talent. This is a story about human resilience. Because sometimes, the ones the world never wanted become the hardest ones to defeat. Jimmy Butler, the kid nobody wanted,